There is a quiet ache that follows betrayal, not the loud kind of pain that draws attention, but the silent one, the one that wraps around your soul like a cold wind you cannot escape. You know the feeling. You trusted them. You carried their burdens, held their secrets, stood by them when the world was against them, and still, they turned their back on you. They betrayed you, not in confusion, not in weakness, but with boldness, without shame. And perhaps the most crushing part isn't just what they did, it's how easily they walked away, how proudly they justified their actions, how they looked you in the eye, knowing the scars they were leaving behind, and still, they betrayed you. It wasn't an accident, it wasn't a moment of weakness, it was deliberate. They chose self over loyalty. They chose comfort over truth. They chose betrayal over love. And now you sit with the remnants of that shattered trust. You replay the conversations. You question your worth. You wonder, how could someone I believed in so much, someone I prayed for, someone I defended, betray me without even flinching? What order does heaven have now that there are no hungry and terrified sons to push? But my friend, hear me, God saw it all. The conversations behind closed doors, the lies whispered in shadows, the fake smiles hiding deception. Nothing escaped his notice. And while they celebrated your pain, while they believed they had won, heaven remained silent for a moment. Not because God was absent, but because he was preparing a response that would not only defend your name, but would teach them a lesson they would never forget. You see, betrayal is not a seed you plant and walk away from unscathed. No. Betrayal grows. It wraps its thorns around those who sow it. It finds its way back to their doorstep. And just as they betrayed you without shame, God, in his divine justice, allows life to return the same measure of betrayal to them, only now they taste it from the other side. It may not happen today. It may not happen in the hour you crave justice most, but God is not mocked. What they gave, they will receive. The betrayal they celebrated over your pain, they will cry over when it visits them. The loyalty they shattered, they will long for when they find themselves surrounded by people wearing masks of friendship but harboring daggers behind their backs. So, do not let their shameless betrayal break you. Let it build you, for the story isn't over. Their betrayal was loud, but God's justice will be louder. Making the final bow to the Queen, let me ask you, are you ready to stop weeping over their actions and start trusting God's timing? Are you ready to believe that betrayal never goes unanswered? Then listen closely. These are the unchanging truths you must remember. God never misses a betrayal, even when it's wrapped in smiles. Betrayal rarely arrives dressed in the garments we expect. It doesn't always wear hatred openly on its face. Often it comes hidden behind smiles, disguised in the voices that once whispered encouragement, clothed in the very hands that held yours in prayer. And perhaps that's why it cuts so deep, because it comes from those you trusted most, those you allowed into the sacred spaces of your heart, those you believed stood with you when the world turned cold. But let me remind you, God never misses a betrayal. Not the quiet ones whispered behind your back, not the blatant ones acted out in plain sight, not the subtle manipulation, the twisted words, the false narratives spoken to discredit you. Heaven saw it all. The mistake many make is thinking that God only sees the large betrayals, the grand betrayals that make headlines, the betrayals that break nations. But God is not confined to the limits of human justice. His eyes search the depths of every conversation, every hidden motive, every disguised intention. He saw them laughing with you in public while plotting against you in private. He heard them praying beside you while their hearts were filled with envy and deceit. He witnessed every moment where they traded loyalty for personal gain, where they sacrificed your trust on the altar of their own ego. And while they thought their betrayal was hidden beneath the veil of friendship, God was watching, not as a distant spectator, but as the righteous judge. His silence was not ignorance. His patience was not weakness. It was mercy for them, an opportunity for repentance, a space for them to see the error of their ways. But when mercy is rejected, justice awakens. They believed their smiles covered their betrayal. They thought their false kindness erased the sting of their disloyalty. But betrayal cannot be buried beneath polite words and public facades. It grows, it festers, and one day, when they least expect it, it returns. It returns as broken trust in their own relationships. It returns as isolation, as disappointment, as the very pain they once inflicted upon you. So, lift your head. You may feel overlooked, forgotten, unprotected, but you are not. God never misses a betrayal. His timing may be different than yours. His response may be quieter at first, but make no mistake, the betrayal they executed without conscience is recorded by heaven, and heaven always settles accounts. Betrayal, given without shame, returns without warning. There's something terrifying about shameless betrayal, the kind of betrayal where they don't even flinch, where they hurt you and sleep soundly, where they break your heart and go on living as if nothing happened. You saw it, their boldness, their arrogance, the way they carried themselves as if their betrayal was justified, even noble. That's the nature of pride. It blinds the heart to truth, numbs the soul to conviction, and convinces the betrayer that they'll never taste the consequences of their actions. But hear me now, betrayal given without shame always returns without warning. Life has a way of repaying debts, even the ones we thought were forgotten. The seeds they planted with their betrayal, the deception, the selfishness, the manipulation, those seeds are buried deep, but they're not dead. They're growing, and they will bloom when they least expect it. God allows it to happen this way, not because He delights in pain, but because justice is often most powerful when it arrives unannounced. The same way they blindsided you, the same way they shattered your peace without warning, is the same way life will visit them with their own betrayal. It might come through the people they trusted most. It might come through the ones they invested in, the ones they celebrated, the ones they called family. And when it arrives, it will carry the weight of every betrayal they sowed into the lives of others. They won't see it coming. That's the terrifying beauty of divine justice. It teaches lessons in silence, humbles the proud in secrecy, and delivers consequences when the heart has grown comfortable. Just as they betrayed you without shame, they will be betrayed without warning. They will feel the sting they so easily inflicted. They will taste the bitterness they forced you to swallow. So wait. Don't rush vengeance. You don't have to orchestrate their downfall. Life under the careful orchestration of heaven is already at work. And when their moment comes, they will remember not your words, but their actions. What they stole from you, life will steal from them. There's a sacred weight in knowing you gave your best to someone, your love, your time, your loyalty. Pieces of your heart you handed over, believing they'd honor them, but instead they took what was sacred and treated it like it was disposable. They stole your trust as if it meant nothing. They stole your peace as if your spirit was theirs to trample on. They took your kindness, your belief in them, your unwavering loyalty, and they discarded it without regret. You know that feeling, the emptiness of having given everything and watching them walk away richer while you stood there feeling robbed, exposed, and humiliated. And yet in their arrogance they thought they'd won. They believed stealing your peace, your dignity, your hope was their victory. But what they failed to understand is that life has an accounting system no one escapes. What they stole from you, life will steal from them. It may not come in the same form. You may never see it unfold, but it is guaranteed. The friendships they destroyed in your life, watch how their own relationships will decay. The peace they disrupted for you, witness how chaos will chase them when they least expect it. The confidence they shattered, watch how insecurity will become their shadow. God's justice doesn't always arrive in lightning bolts. Sometimes it arrives quietly, in their sleepless nights, in the relationships that crumble around them, in the opportunities that slip through their fingers. And the cruelest irony? They won't always realize it's the harvest of their own betrayal. They'll call it bad luck. They'll blame others. But deep in the quiet corners of their heart, they'll know this is the return of what they took. You see, no one steals without consequence. Life ensures that theft, especially the theft of another's peace, comes with a price. And the ones who took your love, your loyalty, your hope, will find those same treasures missing when they need them most. So grieve what was stolen, but don't think for a second it's forgotten. Life remembers every injustice. Heaven records every theft. And in time, what they stole from you will be the very thing they're left searching for, only to find it gone. Your tears are seeds. Their betrayal is the harvest they'll taste. It's strange, isn't it? The way betrayal forces tears from the strongest souls. You held it together for so long. You stood tall in storms. You carried burdens others couldn't imagine. And yet, their betrayal, their selfishness, their deception broke you in ways nothing else could. It stole your breath. It drowned you in questions. It made you weep not just from pain, but from the deep realization that someone you trusted could hurt you so shamelessly. But those tears, they were not wasted. They were not weakness. They were seeds. God does not ignore tears shed in betrayal. He collects them. Each drop that fell from your weary eyes carried weight. Weight heaven recognizes. Weight life responds to. While they laughed, while they moved on, while they celebrated their cruelty, your tears watered the ground beneath their feet. And there's a divine mystery to this, because your tears are not just symbols of pain, they're prophecies. Every tear planted in the soil of heartbreak grows into a harvest of justice. Their betrayal, no matter how quiet or bold, becomes the very field from which life delivers consequences. And when that harvest arrives, it comes bitter, it comes heavy, it comes unexpected. They thought your tears made you weak, but your tears were seeds of a justice they cannot outrun. They believed they could betray you and thrive, that they could wound you and rise higher. But life remembers. God remembers, and the betrayal they gave so freely becomes the very soil their suffering grows from. You don't have to fight for revenge. Your brokenness already spoke for you. Your tears already planted the seeds. And in the unseen, in the silence, life has been preparing a bitter harvest, one they will taste with the same shamelessness they betrayed you with. God preserves the pure while the proud fall to their own deceit. There's a quiet strength in those who remain pure even after betrayal. You know the kind of purity I'm speaking of. the purity of heart that chooses loyalty, the purity of intention that seeks no harm, the purity of love that gives without manipulation. And yet, isn't it strange? Those who carry such purity often suffer the most at the hands of the proud and deceitful. The ones with good hearts, gentle souls, and honest motives become the easiest targets for betrayal. But what the proud forget is this: God preserves the pure. They saw your purity as weakness. They mistook your kindness for naivety. They believed they could lie, deceive, and use you without consequence, all while parading their pride as strength. They thought their schemes were clever, their manipulation unstoppable, their betrayal hidden beneath smiles and charm. But what they didn't see was heaven watching, and heaven always defends the pure. God's preservation isn't always immediate. It's not always loud. Sometimes He lets the storm rage a little longer. Sometimes He lets the betrayal unfold. But all the while, He is building a wall around your spirit, strengthening your resolve, refining your character. They thought they were breaking you, but in truth, they were pushing you deeper into God's preservation. The proud, however, fall to their own deceit. Pride blinds them. It convinces them they are invincible. It whispers lies that betrayal has no consequence, that hurting the pure brings no return. But pride is the most dangerous companion. It elevates you today only to humiliate you tomorrow. And so, while they walk boldly in their arrogance, while they celebrate their deceit, their downfall is quietly approaching. Their lies will entangle them. Their manipulation will expose them. Their betrayal will become their prison. That is the fate of the proud. They build ladders of deceit, only to fall from the height they foolishly climbed. So don't envy their temporary victories. Don't mourn their betrayal as the end of your story. God is preserving your purity, shielding your spirit, and orchestrating a justice the proud cannot escape. Let them boast now. Soon enough, they'll taste the consequences of their own deceit. They thought betrayal meant victory, but it was their downfall in disguise. Betrayal has a way of making the betrayer feel powerful. It feeds their ego. It whispers lies that say, "You've won." You saw it. Their confidence, their arrogance, the way they walked away from you as if they carried the crown, as if betraying you elevated their worth, as if discarding your love, your trust, your loyalty was a victory worth celebrating. But there's a divine irony to betrayal. It disguises downfall as triumph. They thought betraying you secured their position. They believed cutting you down raised them higher. But betrayal never builds. It destroys. Slowly, quietly, inevitably. The victory they celebrated was an illusion, a temporary high masking an irreversible descent. What they didn't see was that the foundation they stood upon, the reputation they protected, the relationships they manipulated, the confidence they boasted, was cracking beneath them. Every lie chipped away at their peace. Every act of disloyalty corroded their stability. Every betrayal planted seeds of chaos in their future. And while they smiled, while they gloated, while they paraded their so-called victory, life was already preparing their downfall. It won't always arrive dramatically. Sometimes it comes silently. Doors closing, relationships failing, peace vanishing, health declining, purpose dissolving. And when it arrives, it leaves them standing in the ruins of what they thought betrayal gained them. In dread, they think. But the question is, given all those St. Acton's betrayals, why did it arise? It leaves them standing. This is how God works. He lets the proud dance in their momentary success. only to reveal that their greatest betrayal was not against you, it was against themselves. They betrayed their integrity. They sacrificed their peace. They destroyed their own future, all in the name of temporary satisfaction. So, lift your eyes. Their betrayal was not your end. It was their beginning of downfall. Watch. Wait. You'll see. The victory they thought they stole will become the very thing that exposes their deepest loss. You lost their loyalty, but you've gained heaven's defense. It's a cruel exchange, isn't it? One day you have their loyalty, their promises, their companionship, their words wrapped in assurance, and then, as if overnight, you stand alone, holding nothing but fragments of broken trust. They betrayed you without shame. They discarded their loyalty as if it was worthless. They walked away as though your presence, your sacrifices, your love meant nothing. And, said Timasius, it hurts, there's no denying that. Losing loyalty feels like losing part of yourself. You question your worth. You replay every moment, searching for where you went wrong. But hear me now, their betrayal may have cost you their loyalty, but it purchased something far greater: heaven's defense. You see, loyalty from people is fragile. It shifts with convenience. It disappears when tested. It's celebrated when easy, but abandoned when costly. And as painful as it is to lose the loyalty of those you trusted, sometimes God allows that loss so He can step in and defend you Himself. You didn't just lose their loyalty, you were positioned under divine protection. While they mocked, while they plotted, while they celebrated your downfall, heaven was surrounding you. God doesn't waste betrayal. He turns the rejection of others into the very reason He defends, elevates, and restores you. Think about this. Their loyalty was temporary, their promises were hollow, their words were a disguise. But God's defense, it's eternal. It doesn't falter with storms. It doesn't bend to rumors. It doesn't shatter under pressure. You lost their loyalty, yes, but you've gained something far more powerful: the defense of the one who never betrays, never abandons, never lies. And His defense shows up in ways you can't always see at first. It's in the peace you shouldn't have, but do. It's in the doors that open when others tried to lock you out. It's in the quiet strength that holds you when your heart feels too heavy to carry. Meanwhile, those who betrayed you, their disloyalty carries consequences they can't outrun. They lost more than your trust. They lost the covering of God's favor over their actions. They forfeited the blessing of walking beside someone pure, someone loyal, someone genuine. And in time, they'll realize betraying you was not their victory. It was the beginning of their loss. So don't mourn their loyalty as if it was your only protection. God has stepped in. His defense surrounds you. His justice follows you. His promises uphold you. And what you lost in people, you've gained in divine covering. Let them walk away. Let them boast in their betrayal. You're not alone. You're defended by heaven itself, and that defense, it never fails. Betrayal has a way of leaving us breathless, doesn't it? It strips away the illusion of security. It exposes the fragile nature of human loyalty. It leaves you questioning, aching, wondering if justice will ever find its way to those who hurt you so freely, so shamelessly. But remember, God saw it all, every whispered lie, every twisted truth, every selfish decision they made to betray you for their own gain. And though they moved with pride, though they laughed without guilt, though they walked away as if untouched, heaven was never blind to your suffering. Their betrayal was loud, but God's justice will be louder. You may have lost their loyalty, but you've gained heaven's defense. You may have cried tears they never saw, but those tears watered the soil for your restoration. You may have watched them celebrate as you fell, but God was preparing your rise. Their shameless betrayal, it doesn't go unanswered. It circles back. It returns without warning. It tastes bitter when it arrives. And when they finally face what they thought they escaped, they'll remember what they gave so freely, they now receive. So stand tall, wipe your tears, lift your head. The ones who betrayed you without shame, God is already at work. Life is already speaking. And soon they will taste the very betrayal they believed would never touch them. The story isn't over. The betrayer never wins. And you, my friend, are not forgotten. You are protected, preserved, and prepared for greater things. Let them betray, God will defend.